Here usually means making regular sales calls.
Thanks.
But will the new ride have an impact on them?
Yes, it will. It'll have a huge impact. The coach operators are already getting very interested about it and trying to find out what the ride is all about, but we're not telling them at this stage.
Another kind of trade customer are the schools, who organise trips to Alton Towers. They get regular mail shots. Alton Towers now even sells resource packs, which teachers can use to incorporate the amusement park into a lesson.
Somewhere like Alton Towers, for design and technology, it's very interesting to the children because they're already interested in the roller coasters, and to actually find out how they work just gives them an extra sort of bonus to try and, understand and to learn about them.
One growing new segment for Alton Towers' marketing efforts consists of private companies, the corporate market.
We visit companies throughout the year and set up corporate deals for them, and it's like a thank you to the staff. An organiser within a company will set up an offer to Alton Towers, and it will be a discounted weekend for the staff to come along and have a full day on park. So we tend to do this throughout the year, and again it helps us to sort of push business into quieter times. So we'll offer them a special rate to come in when it's slightly quieter at the beginning or the end of the season.
And are there any particular things you put on for companies that aren't available normally?
Yes, there are different things. We can have It's a Knockout sites on park. They can do treasure hunts around the park as well. We do things like exclusive ride time, so they can hire an area of the park just for their company, so they can go on Nemesis as many times as they want to.
The marketing department approaches these different kinds of customers in different ways.
For schools, I think it is direct mail, and it's a case of getting the correct mail and to the correct person, because there's an awful lot of people within a school. With the coach companies, it is direct call, and it's building up this relationship and being able to respond to their needs. Well, again, with the corporate market, really the message is, as well as the fun side of Alton Towers, it's something different and somewhere unique to bring your staff. You can have a meeting in any hotel anywhere in the country, but to come along to the Alton Towers Hotel and to have a day on park, it's completely unique.
What kinds of things do customers complain about most frequently?
The first thing I would say, to preempt that question, is that a very small proportion of customers actually complain relative to the proportion of visitors we have.
I have been to Alton Towers in the past before, and I had a friend over, and he was from America, and he said, I've got to ride Nemesis. And we got to the Nemesis queue, and it was 3 hours long. Now, well, we had to do it, so we got on, we said we've got to do it, so we loaded our pockets up with food and drink and whatever and got in the queue. It was probably the most boring 3 hours of my life. Now, Nemesis is actually good in that the queue line goes round the ride, you can stand and watch the ride, but by the time you get on it, you're tired, your feet ache, and that's mostly, that could be a lot of your day gone. And I think for, say, somebody new to the park, on a busy day, if they queue 3 hours for Nemesis, maybe 2 hours for another ride or whatever, by the time they've had lunch and got in and out, they'll probably only do a few rides in the day, and they'll probably walk out unhappy thinking, well, I've spent this money to get in here today, and I've only done a few rides. And also they'll look at all the other rides there and say, oh, I wish I'd done that, and I wish I'd done that.
But at the heart of Alton Towers marketing is the attempt to please different groups: the children, the parents, the thrill-seeking teenagers. It's a difficult balancing act. Is it working?
For example, there's a dedicated children's area, there's all the big white knuckle rides for the teenagers, but there's probably not so many relaxing, gentle rides that the parents could do.
Blackpool Pleasure Beach, Alton Towers' most direct competitor. Something Blackpool's got that Alton Towers hasn't is wooden roller coasters. Its most famous is the Grand National, 2 roller coasters running side by side. Wooden coasters are particularly popular among the enthusiasts.
So what is it about a wooden roller coaster that makes it so much more exciting?
The things that make wooden roller coasters more exciting are the tradition around them, the fact they look like they're works of art. Someone hasn't just taken a crayon and scribbled a few loops and circles. They actually look like someone has thought about them. They've had to be designed well. They have much more shake, rattle and roll about them. They're much more fun, they're much more thrilling. You have much more of a feeling of being out of control. Steel roller coasters feel much more computer controlled. You're welded to the track, nothing's going to happen.
But Alton Towers has other competition to worry about too.
We have to take into account that people enjoy watching television, computer games. Family entertainment centres are becoming more and more important. Shopping on a Sunday is something which we didn't have to consider 5, 6 or 7 years ago, but now is a very real element of competition to us. So we do have to take into account the fact that people can be spending their time doing so many other things than coming to a theme park.
With a limited amount of space and rides, how can Alton Towers respond to such competition? One way is to get people to stay longer. It now has a specially themed hotel, complete with a huge model flying machine in the middle of it. Customers are being attracted to come not just for a day trip, but for a short break to Alton Towers. The park is also selling itself increasingly as a venue for special events.
We hold things like pop concerts as well, and we're looking at holding more and more large-scale events of that nature. Also things like enthusiast events, like hot air ballooning weekends, murder mystery type weekends in the hotel, family fun weeks in the hotel. There are so many more opportunities out there. It's all about exploring these opportunities and communicating them effectively, which is the area that really is up to myself, with a few people here as well, to get these messages across to consumers and the trade alike.
But the major competitive challenge to Alton Towers is likely to come from abroad, from the giant American film companies like Disney.
How would you compare the Alton Towers experience to the Disney experience?
I'd say that Alton Towers is very much a UK theme park. It's a UK interpretation of magic. It's delivered in an Alton Towers kind of way. Disney are very good at what they do, but in many ways it's quite different to what we do. We have a reputation for offering something for all the family, but when it comes to the big rides, for instance, we have a reputation for being real innovators and offering very thrilling, very exciting rides in that respect. Disney don't tend to do that. Their rides aren't as white knuckle, don't quite have the edge of some of our rides.
But what if Disney were to set up in Britain?
If at any stage in the future a huge player came in and set up a business in direct contrast to Alton Towers, then we may have to slightly rethink, just to make absolutely sure that we weren't being swamped by a major competitor who would possibly be a film distributor or something like that, who are using a theme park to really sell their main product, which might be a film or what have you.
First vertical drop roller coaster at Alton Towers.
was fast, and it was like, wow, is that it? Can I do it again?
I stopped breathing halfway down.
That's my pants. That's the back of my pants.
Did you like it? It was wonderful, yes.
Was it wonderful?
I don't know, just the sheer height of it all.
The vertical drop. Yeah? Was it scary? Very.
The worst bit, when you get tipped at the top here. You look down the hole. That's pretty scary.
Is it not scary enough?
No. I don't know, just...
The first drop is, like when you first come over, and that first little bit, all about 5 seconds, and after that, there's nothing to it.
Nemesis is better. It's longer rides, you know.
Better than Nemesis?
Yeah, loads better.
In the truth.
Scared to death.
Yeah, can you do it again? No.
Wait,
She will.